Today with us is Mr. Sanket. So to start with, what Salesforce is doing in generative AI?
So Salesforce has been in the AI business for quite some time. As you know, we were the pioneers in SaaS and enterprise SaaS, and we were the first to introduce the whole concept of leveraging the cloud for your enterprise applications. So the reason I mentioned that is we've been in the trust business for quite some time, because you can very well imagine an enterprise trusting its data in the cloud. So we generated that. And the next step for us, logical step for us, was to get into AI and leverage AI in the context of enterprise applications to help the customers. So we've been in the AI business for quite some time. Today, already on a daily basis, we do more than 200 billion transactions, which are predictive and generative AI. And what are these transactions? Where you're in the context of our apps, say what we call the Sales Cloud, which is a CRM app, or Service Cloud, which handles service requests. Within the context of a particular screen, we leverage AI to give a much, much better experience to whoever is using it. So this is AI used in a very practical manner, in a very safe manner. And what we have done is we realize that there's a gap. There's a gap between what the companies would like to do and with what is practical to do in a manner that is conducive to privacy and security of a company. And this gap we're trying to bridge using what we call the trust layer. Okay, the trust layer basically injects the whole concept of trust by virtue of checking the output, by virtue of making sure that the prompts generated for generative AI are done in a manner so that the private information stays private, but the necessary information is injected. So we're able to have something that's substantial, something that's useful. And another point I'd like to stress is we view the overall AI domain in three layers. One is the UI layer. So anything to do with generative is done in a conversational Q&A manner, right? And then there's a model layer. The models can be a predictive model or a large language model. And then there's a data layer. Now, most of the people you meet, most of the companies you talk to in conferences like this, they'll all talk only about AI. The core of all of this is data. Without the right data, you can't make magic happen. So what we do is we have something called the data cloud that integrates your data from all the data sources within your enterprise, puts it together into something using something called the active lakehouse, which allows you to have data stay in where it is, but yet leverage it in a federated manner. This data is fed into the models. These models become intelligent. This data is also leveraged by the UI to create nice prompts to be able to access generative AI. And we make sure that the access to generative AI is done in a safe manner using our trust layer. That, in a nutshell, is our approach. And what we are about is providing practical solutions and practical applications of AI for our customers to make sure that our customers can leverage it in the manner that's conducive to growth and enterprise security.
So since Salesforce handles a lot of data, so do you think that Gen AI poses any threat to data privacy and security in India?
So we handle data privacy and security issues by virtue of our trust layer.
Yeah.
Okay. So any information that you pass, whenever you are querying something in generative AI, you create a prompt.
Yeah.
That prompt has to have information that comes from you to be able to generate a decent answer. Now, within that prompt, if there's some personal information, what we call PII, we take that and we mask it so that data does not go out. In addition to that, when that prompt is being used with an LLM to do a query, we make sure that data is not retained in the LLM.
Yeah.
So you don't lose the information. And finally, when the information comes back in the form of the answer, we check for toxicity and hallucinations. So this way, we cover the entire layer and make sure that privacy is taken into account, but we also take into account the efficacy of the use of Gen AI.
So my last question to you is can India become the AI capital of the world?
India can become anything it wants to, man. You know, we're a young country with lots and lots of talent, and I deal a lot with startups, and I see that so many startups are cropping up in the AI domain, and I think the world is our oyster. India is ready to do amazing things.
Thank you. Thank you so much for.
Thank you.
Thank you.